I know I'm pushing this product past the design of the manufacturer. The first thing I want to do is give an update on this Rapidset Asphalt Resurfacing product that I used. And this is just beyond hope, beyond saving. The inclination is to get the product on the ground and get the problem fixed. Spend the time doing the prep work. Welcome back to the Coyote Country Homestead. My name's Chris. It's time to get back to Operation Save My Driveway. I've been waiting for the weather to warm up, and while tonight may not be the perfect example of that, it's a little cooler tonight. The rest of this week we're looking at temperatures that are going to be in the 80s, and we're not going to get down probably below 55 overnight. The work I'm going to be doing right now is going to be with the Rapidset product, which I can let the temperature get down a little cooler. It's not the same thing as when I'm pouring the sealant. So let's look at what we've got going on right now. The first thing I want to do is give an update on this Rapidset Asphalt Resurfacing product that I used. This was back in March that I put this down, and I've been really pleased with it. I do want to point out it does have some cracks, some hairline cracks that have formed, but at the same time, I want to point out that the product specifically states that you need to seal it. And so it's reasonable to expect these small cracks to form. And then with the blacktop sealer that you would put down on top of it, that's what you would depend on to be a little bit more elastic and to give it a better coating. I think later this year, this is not the project we're going to be doing tonight, but I've been so pleased with the way this turned out that what I would like to do is expand this area to cover this seam here and bring the two pieces of asphalt together and seal all of that, and then maybe come in over here and just sort of create a bigger rectangle around the patch that I already put down. And then maybe also for all of this alligator cracking section right here, probably to put that down. But that is a project for another night. Let's look at what we're going to be working on right now. In addition to the Rapidset Asphalt Resurfacing product, there's another product they sell, which is this asphalt repair mix. And this you can pour, gosh, I think they said 24 inches deep. Very, very deep you can use this. It's got aggregate in it. It's also about half the cost of the asphalt resurfacing product. This 50-pound bag cost about $22, $23. I bought 4 of them, and I may need a little bit more. But what we're going to try and do is, you can see this section, this is just beyond hope, beyond saving. But this area around it, somewhere I think I'll be able to get into an area that's a little more solid. And then also I have filled this area in with gravel, and I want to get that cut out or dug out and then figure out where my edges are there. I don't know if those 4 bags will allow me to get all of that. I want to start with this one here. And so I spent about an hour and a half last night using the leaf blower to blow this whole section off. And you can see it, the reason it took an hour and a half is because there was so much of it. You can see where it all blew off into the gravel over here. This is the little bits of asphalt gravel that have just settled to the top. So what I'm going to do now that I've got most of the debris off, I'm going to come in with a power washer. And then I'm going to let the power washer kind of blast up whatever is so loose that it should be coming up anyway. And that, I think, is going to help me figure out where my edges are. And then if I need to come in with like a circular saw and a asphalt blade or a concrete blade, then I will, to try and get some edges. I'm kind of hoping what I end up with, I can just put this product down. Anyway, it's going to be a test. I don't know how this is going to turn out. Again, I'm more or less experimenting with products that I can use to help save this. My parking lot overall is not in terrible shape. You can see it actually looks pretty good, but there are several spots like this. And then I showed you that alligator cracking earlier. And you know, if we look over here, this is one of the worst areas right here. This is going to be, once I do some experimentation and figure out what what products are working. I probably will also get some cold patch in here and experiment with that, and the tamping tool. I can't remember what that's called right now. The plate compactor. Wow. Okay. So between using the cold patch and the plate compactor, I think there will be some places where I have, I don't think I want to buy as many 50-pound sacks as it's going to take to replace that whole section. I also don't know that the cold patch is going to be any cheaper. So I got to play that by ear and figure out. But for tonight, we're going to just tackle this area here. It's a couple of days later. It took me that long to let everything dry out. This area right here specifically was just held water, and that's kind of the whole problem, right? Is that the water should be draining out. I gotta move over this way. It should be draining out over here, and instead it's ponding all in right here and settling right here. So it took about 2 days for that to dry. It looked quite a bit different. Let me flip this around. You can see that one spot, I'm getting a lot of the gravel back out. I power washed as much of that out as I could, but I'm gonna have to take a pickaxe and get that gravel down. I need to get that down at least 2 inches to where it's below the rest of the asphalt. And I also need to figure out where my edges are gonna be so that if I need to cut those out. On a lot of these, there's a lot of alligator cracking here. I'm going to try and keep as much of this as I can, but just picking loosely at some of this, it's still loose. And I want to get anything that I can just, if I can pull on it by hand and it even flexes just a little bit, I'm going to go ahead and get it up. You can see I've got another little area of damage over here now, and I suspect there'll probably be a few more before we're done with this. We finally got some rain, enough that I can begin to evaluate how my driveway worked, whether it was successful or not. And it does seem to be. You can see here, the water is flowing here and out. When it overflows that drain right there, because that's going to get stopped up, it always does, right there. Well, then it overflows into the driveway, and I'm getting a nice drain field diagonally across over to the tree. And really, that's exactly what I want. So as we get more, we'll see if that washes out or if that holds water or if that becomes any kind of a problem. For right now, I'm pretty optimistic about that. Today is June 19th. I recorded the intro video to this project that I was hoping to do on May 6th. So I've had weather delays, and largely this project has turned out to be, I just had to do a lot more preparation and lay a lot of groundwork for this before I could actually get down to putting the patch in the ground. And that was just way too much to show you guys in a video. This would have been a 9-part series by the time I was done. So the whole focus on this was to use the Rapidset product to repair the patch or the pothole here. And let me show you I have done a test patch on one, and I've got a much bigger area that I want to do today, and I'll show you what that looks like here. I can't stress strongly enough when you're doing a project like this, the inclination is to get the product on the ground and get the problem fixed. I really wanted to get all of this repair work done on May 6th, May 7th. And there was just too much prep work and way too much to put on video. I probably have 20 plus hours of work cleaning up this area, fixing some drainage problems, and getting some preparation work done. So that is all out of the way now. I do need to do a little bit of excavation, just getting some dirt out of there. So we're going to start with that. Then we're going to I'm going to use a wire broom to clean the area out. And then I'm going to use a shop vac to clean the hole out and make sure that there's no loose debris. And then we'll get started on actually laying the Rapidset repair product. So we're going to go around this way because this area over here is where I had put down gravel, and it was much smaller probably. This is that area that was all broken up. I dug that out and I was gonna have to repair that. And then all of this alligator cracking in here, I went in with like a screwdriver and I just sort of did a pry test on this stuff. And anything that was even remotely loose, I pulled up. And I ended up pulling up quite a bit. You can see I've got this whole other section here that was not even as bad as this one, but it all needed to come up. And everything that is left was pretty packed in, pretty tight, pretty stiff. I couldn't easily move it. And so I'm hoping that by putting this product down in there, it's going to settle and hold that in. And then I plan to skim all of this area with the asphalt resurfacer when I'm done to kind of hold it all together. So this was one bag's worth of repair that I did just a few nights ago to see how well it would work. And I think it worked out pretty good. These holes down to soil are 2 to 3 inches deep. That's about how thick the asphalt was. I took the extra material I had from the 50-pound bag and I started to fill this one. And as I work on this one here, which I'm guessing is going to take about, if that was one bag for those others, we're probably looking at a solid 4 to 5 bags for this repatch, for this one over here. And then I will make sure that I fill this in as well. And again, like I said, the whole thing is going to be skimmed with the asphalt resurfacer product when I'm done. And then I will come in and put some kind of an asphalt sealer on top of that. I said I was going to use a wire broom here. The wire broom was tearing the soil up too much, and I really didn't want to disturb that any more than I had to. So really it made more sense to come in with a nylon bristled broom at this point and just clean out all of the loose dirt and rock. And then you'll see I come in later and I use a shop vac to clean the rest of that out. Here I'm switching to the wire bristle broom. I'm trying to get all of the debris pushed away from the hole so that as I pour the product and as I'm working near the hole, I'm not accidentally kicking dirt and debris into the hole. I know I'm pushing this product past the design of the manufacturer. The manufacturer would tell me that I need to go past this alligator cracking until I get into clean asphalt that's not damaged and do a cut and find those all the way around. This is Operation Save My Driveway, not Operation Replace My Driveway. So I have to find a way to reuse as much of this as possible. If it looks like it's going to hold, then I'm going to try. And I know that as I get to the edges of this, some of these may not hold and they may come out and I may need to have to do little patches. I'm okay with that. I think that's worth it rather than having to push this out. I would have to do an area 4 times as large as what I'm standing in right now, at least, to get to undamaged asphalt. So that's just not going to work. So let me get the shop vac. I'm going to clean all the little debris out of this and out of that other hole, and then we'll be ready to start mixing product. I think I've got all my tools together now. I'm estimating this is going to take somewhere between 4 and 5 50-pound sacks. I've got water pre-measured into 5 buckets so that I can do 5 batches. If this comes in a little bit low, that's actually what I want, because keep in mind I'm going to be coming back later with asphalt resurfacer, and that'll be my top coat. So I don't mind if it's just a little bit low. I don't want it to be high. So with that, I think I've got all my tools together. I'm going to get started mixing. I'm going to mix up 3 batches to start with. I'm going to see where that leaves me. And if I need to mix up the other 2 batches, then at least I'm ready to go. The instructions say your work area needs to be dry, like the soil and everything, but it also says to wet down the surrounding asphalt so that it does a better job of adhering. All right, we're probably going to be at least into those last 2 5-pound bags. I might need a 6th one. Maybe I misunderestimated, but that's okay. I've got more. Before this sets up too much, I'm just going to trowel this into the edges. All right, I better get at least 2 more, and it may be even more than that, so we'll find out. See, this stuff sets up really quick. This stuff is already getting to a pretty firm consistency. Again, I don't have to be too worried about what the finished coat is going to look like because I know I'm adding more material, but yeah, I'm going to need that 7th bag pretty quick here. And this is why you want to use a loop roller for this to finish it, because it just gets sticky and kind of gloppy. About as smooth as I'm going to get that probably. This is what we have for the finished product. You're going to see a lot of swirls, and this is not so super even the way I would necessarily want it to be. Again, keep in mind, this is not the top coat. I'm going to have something else, that asphalt resurfacer, that goes over it. So I'm not so concerned about it. You can get this product if you look at this older patch right here. This is one that I actually troweled and then I rolled out with the loop roller. And you can see that would actually come in once you brought in the sealer and put that on there. That would seal, that would finish off pretty nicely. And even with the trowel finish on this one, I don't think that's too bad right there. So if you have time, if this was a big pour, I didn't anticipate it being 7 bags. If I had, that stuff dries pretty darn fast. So, you know, I probably would have split that in half and done that in 2 different sections, and then I would be able to get have a little bit more control over it and get a little bit cleaner finish on it. Even still, pretty happy with how that turned out. I'm eager to see how this looks when I get the asphalt resurfacer on it and then seal it. I think it's going to look pretty good, and I think it's going to hold up for a couple of years, which is really what I need. That's going to be it for this one. We're going to call that the end of part 1. I still need to come in, I've said it several times, with the asphalt resurfacer product and get that all done, and then I would like to seal it. And so I would like to make that part 2 of this, where I put the resurfacer on it and seal it, and we'll see what it looks like. In the meantime, I got to bring this one to an end, because again, this has been going on since May. So May, and now we're almost to the end of June, almost 2 whole months that this has been going on. Time to wrap this one up. So that'll be it for this. Do me a favor, click like, click subscribe. Subscribe won't cost you any money, and we won't send you anything, but it does help me grow my channel, and it'll let you know when I've got new additional videos coming out. Otherwise, thank you for joining us out here at the Coyote Country Homestead. My name is Chris, and we'll see you next time.